but I made a couple thousand. It got me saying, GM, good morning, I hope you make a place. In a bear market, just trying to make a way, yeah. And these goblins crowding up the space, but it's kind of funny, so it's all good with me, yeah. Good morning, I hope you live it well. Kinda nut spread, taking care of yourself, eh. Good morning, I hope you living good. Hopefully this heat gon' get us out of here. GM, now my wrist so frozen. I just saw the bag, it's a real good morning. And I'm burning on my gas, but I made a couple thousand. It got me saying,
GM, NFT Live. How are we doing today, everybody? You are hanging out with a DJ Savage. We got Nifty Q over here, and Doc Gables over here. How is everyone doing today? Why don't we start with Nifty? How's your week going, my guy? I think you're muted.
I'll chime in. My week's great. Hanging in, getting some stuff done. Grinding on a few items for Bitlectro. Watching a couple good days with the portfolio. I'm all right. How about you, Q?
I'm doing good, man. You'd think like on the 1,000th video that I would not make that mistake, but my week was going well until Savage, you upstaged us with that suit, man. You're looking fresh to death. I'm glad me and Gabe can kind of throw something together here, but it's a Friday. I can't complain.
I thought about putting a suit on for this. I saw Savage on cam and I thought, man, should I get dressed? It's also 110 degrees here and I live in an old house. Not conducive to comfort while on camera in the suit. So I opted for casual Friday. Had to at least put a collar on to match Q, but that's about it.
Yeah, I have
Gabe,
go ahead.
No, Savage, you got it.
I said I have a wedding next week, Friday, so I won't actually be here for NFT Live next week because I'll be DJing a wedding. I'm also a groomsman in the wedding. So I figured my suit showed up in the mail yesterday. I paid for it, so you got to use it on air, right?
Looking sharp.
Love it, man. Llama, Hash Rhymes, Savage is in the chat and in the box here hosting with us. Element, Arl X, Peter Koo, Gabe Choina, Auntie Sia, Jason Moffat is here. Guys, we just pressed live on NFT Live. Appreciate you joining in. We're covering the NFT industry. I like the Savage episodes at the end of the week because we tie in some like crypto and blockchain stuff that actually affects us in NFTs, but we don't often think about that way, right? Like we want to cover floor prices and we want to cover what's the latest drop, but we don't understand that a lot of this other stuff affects NFTs. So I enjoy getting schooled here on Fridays, man, with Savage.
It's hard to separate NFTs and crypto in my brain because, you know, I guess I started with the crypto and then we moved into NFTs and then they're basically the same thing, right? I mean, how many people out there, let's ask a question to chat. How many people out there are just in NFTs and you don't do any crypto at all? Anybody? I'm going to bet that number's real low, maybe zero. Because if you're in NFTs, means you're sitting on some Ethereum or some Solana or, you know, whatever you're buying. So kind of already in crypto, unless you're one of those people that buys your NFTs with your MasterCard.
Yeah. That 1% subset of the population. I always tell people whenever I get a little shade for trading JPEGs on the internet or anyone that punches down to NFT traders but holds crypto, I say that the NFT traders are one level of sophistication above your understanding, because not only do they most certainly use a self-custody wallet to trade them, at least if they're using OpenSea, right? But then they had to figure out all the machinations of that over and above just putting it in their Coinbase vault. So no shade to the NFT traders, obviously.
Shout out to
I want to give
family.
Absolutely. I have like a couple conversations, but I also want to hit chat because there's some really funny comments coming through. Everyone's commenting on the Hawaiian shirts here today, or the dressed up nature of the guest. Dikenza saying he's here for the fancy dress up alpha. So we got it for you. Like if any other channel on like planet Earth, we have the fancy dress up alpha, at least in the NFT space. Llama's saying nice suit. Xbox saying, wow, Q added color to the room. And then Fun Uncle. Savage, can you go to Fun Uncle's Twitter profile here? Just and pull this up. I might even be able to share my screen. The man looks like he's having the best time out of literally all of us. It's his latest post. But guys, we're covering the NFT space today. We are going to cover that Solana phone. We're going to hit on some CBDC stuff as well. Please leave a like and comment here in the chat, man. If you guys want us to cover any certain NFT, there is fun. Like, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing here?
He's looking like he's having a lot of fun over there. I'm over here dressing up with Q and Gabe, and
I have so many questions now. I didn't. That's not an environment I expected to see Fun Uncle in.
I think this is like his second or third year doing this, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, I'm a little bit flustered because there were a lot of females in that picture. But if my girlfriend is watching, we're just having. I'm with the dudes here right now. But anyways, he is a documentary and he does like photo shoots basically, and it's Bikini-thon there in Miami. So that's where he's at. So boom.
Okay.
Good on context. Him. Yeah. Exactly.
Live your best life, Fun Uncle.
Amen. A real
Yeah.
GM.
It looks like he's having a good old time over there on a boat. When I was chatting with him last week before he went down to Florida or wherever he's having this, picture shoot at, he was saying, it's like super hot down there, and he was going to spend all week inside. I think he lied to me, guys. I think he lied to me. Looks like he's outside on a boat with a bunch of females. So, I don't know, Fun Uncle. I got some conspiracy theories popping up over here. You just didn't want me down there stealing all the ladies.
He didn't invite any of us. He did not invite any of us. He wanted to be solo in that picture, man. Gabe, what's Bitlectro doing these days, man? What do you guys got coming up?
We're migrating all of our apps soon to a new platform, which is going to be the rudiments of our upcoming battle arena. So people get a little sneak peek here, probably end of July. So I don't want to share the sauce yet, but we've already launched the domain. We have a wiki that we're adding that writes some of the lore or stores some of the lore around the dreamers and the dream loops. There's a lot. We're in full on development grind mode right now, which is great.
You said the end of July. I can tell. Maybe I've been working at home for too long because I was like, isn't July over?
Yikes. About 2 more weeks. Yes.
Not quite. Yes, not quite. I guess.
Yo, a couple network updates before Savage gets us started here, guys, and it's good to see everyone kind of coming in here and joining the chat. But we don't have an NFT Live on Friday next week. Savage is going to be wearing that beautiful suit at his buddy's wedding. Maybe he can divulge some other information, but we will be streaming live here on the network tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard. The other side test launch, whatever they want to call it, technology launch, whatever the heck they're using nowadays. We're going to be streaming that tomorrow, just like we did for the first demo there. So I'll see you guys there. Hopefully we can get a bunch of people in the chat. That would be fun. But that's it for me, man. OVOT.
Dang, Jason Moffat in chat saying he actually 7x'd his last NFTs that were purchased via credit card. So maybe we're doing it wrong, guys. Hey, I think you get less taxes too, because then you're not paying the tax from that Ethereum to NFT purchase if you're grabbing it right off your credit card. Let's save a little bit of money on those taxes on the back end. So getting schooled out there by Jason Moffat, my guy.
Not if you're selling at a loss. If you always trade at a loss, then your tax liability is 0, right?
we know about that.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you guys use for a phone over there? You guys rocking your newest phones or old phones or what are you doing?
I have a very old iPhone. They actually looked at me weird when I walked in the Apple store. It was that old.
I got a 7 Plus. What are you rocking?
Oh, I'm rocking the X. I thought I was. They're on like 13, Savage. Come on.
I don't know what this is.
Hey.
I think I have a 13. I drop it a lot. I listen to audiobooks and podcasts even in the shower. So I'm usually it's usually waterlogged. I feel like 6 months in the Bluetooth stops working well. So it's a new phone, but it looks like it's seen some shit. So.
Hey, they have like Bluetooth speakers you can stick in your fan in your bathroom or your light or.
I know, which doesn't make a lot of sense. I have those. My wife has bought those for me, and I still just let the phone follow me into the shower. So that's a technology addiction right there, right? When I have to keep the podcast going when I'm cleaning myself. Anyway, So yeah, little secrets,
That's a
tidbits you're
vision.
getting here. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Anyway, enough about that. This is a segue, I think, to an interesting topic, something far more interesting than my showering habits. Yeah, why do you ask, Savage?
I mean, my phone's pretty old just because I don't ever use it because I'm always at my computers, so no real use to actually use my phone. But there's some news out this week talking about they are bringing out some new phones, and there's a couple different ones coming out. They say there's like a $1,000 Solana phone coming out, and it's scheduled to release, I think, end of next or sometime next year. And then they have an HTC phone for half the price at about $500. But I don't know how successful this is gonna be, because it would take quite a bit for me to move over from, Apple over to a whole different ecosystem, whether that's Solana NFTs or Polygon or really any other platform. Because I mean, once you're in Apple, it's hard to get out of Apple. And all your iMessages back and forth, those get all screwed up if you move over to Android. I've definitely had some friends say they moved from Apple to Android and lost a ton of messages and were struggling with that. But the article was saying that, that we don't own our data because, Apple owns it or Android owns it. So maybe this is a good use case where people should start looking into, phones not owned by some of these big parent companies. I just don't know how successful it's going to be. What do you guys think? Would you swap one of your phones out for a non-Apple, non-Android? Maybe like a Solana $1,000 phone?
Go ahead, Gabe.
Yeah, I'm pretty tied to my workflows, as I'm using an iOS device over here. Maybe, right? Like, I'm trying to figure out if these are Android based. It doesn't look like it. I don't see a mention of that, at least for the HTC phone in the article. But if it already accommodated the apps that I'm using day to day, then like, sure, why not? It feels more like a novelty, especially the HTC Metaverse phone, right? Because the idea, like if you're an engineer or an engineering team and you're developing a metaverse or an app that's Web3 focused, right? You want broad adoption, right? You want that sort of plurality of user base to jump in. So who are you targeting first? You're generally targeting iOS first and then Android. You're mobile optimizing for small browser windows, etc. Like, tell me what the native app is. What's the killer app that I have to have on a Solana phone or an HTC Metaverse phone that I can't use on my iOS or Android device? So I'm skeptical. I might pick one up as a novelty. I have a lot of weird technology that I just kind of collect as like a hobby piece, etc. There's actually stuff sitting in front of me on my desk here, like Wi-Fi packet sniffers. I've got a dolphin over here. You guys ever see the flipper? Okay, keep your devices away from me. I'm dangerous. Anyway, but so it's something I would pick up as a novelty, not something I would likely use day to day, honestly. What are your thoughts, Q?
Yeah, a lot of good comments here in the chat, but I might be doxing myself as a complete noob, but I actually don't have MetaMask on my mobile at all. And I think that is something that maybe we take it for granted, just getting involved on our laptops and PCs all day, every day, that we don't really think about like mobile adoption in that sense. So I think like encryption and having data and all of these, I guess, upgrades. Savage, can you turn the music down just a little bit?
Yeah.
I think all these upgrades will eventually be
It went up, not down.
I think what I'm trying to get at is I think the features for mobile, so that I can actually like go out into the world and feel comfortable with security on a mobile phone, which is not something that I feel right now in a lot of ways, in messaging and financial ways where I can just like pay for things. I think it will lead to more adoption. I don't think it comes from a hardware phone that's being made by Solana. Like, I think stay in your lane a little bit more in that sense. But I do like the upgrades. And I think maybe, we're 5 years away from a time where people are just kind of transacting freely and securely on a mobile phone. But I like the movements we're making in that sense, but not a big fan of like third-party companies. You only like Elon Musk can go and enter this other sector and be super successful and get rid of the entrenched incumbents. I just think it's doomed for failure more than it is getting ready for success.
That was one of my first thoughts too, because Apple does an amazing job keeping our data secure from what I can tell. You know, they push out nice updates. Everyone that says they have a Apple, you know, laptop or computer says it gets way less spam and ads and, you know, malware than like a Windows phone does. So that would be my concern with like, you know, a Solana phone or something like that is, you know, they don't have Apple's infrastructure or, you know, engineers working on the back end to plug all the holes and make the security what it needs to be to house all our data. Because, you know, if anything's truly connected to you, it's your phone. You know, I don't have MetaMask on my phone either, just because I have no use for it. But, you know, it's got everything else on there. It's got my bank account. It's got all the bills I pay. It's got everything in there. And that's probably why I would stick with, you know, like a major brand, just because you know and trust it. Whereas you might be one of the first, you know, dummies over here or people over here using this Solana phone. So, you know, how well was it tested? I mean, you get all of China or all of Ukraine trying to attack it and find, you know, vulnerabilities and stuff. I'm not trying to be that guy that's testing it and then my data is the one that's breached and leaked out to everyone. That would really suck, especially if you have crypto stuff on there.
I'm interested in the tie into NFTs here too, Gabe. In NFT NYC, when you were using token proof, what was that? Was that something that was like reading some a transaction? Was it reading your wallet and you had to sign any transactions mobily, or how did that process work with token proof?
Which is great. So they have a system where you link it to your wallet once, but then you can effectively remove MetaMask from your phone. You actually don't even. I don't know if you have to even install MetaMask initially on the mobile side, because I don't. I'm trying to remember when I verified it for AFES, but because I don't walk around with MetaMask on my phone either. I think that's a vulnerability, right? Like it's a thing that could put you in a scenario where if you're under duress, someone could say, "Hey, well, unlock your phone, send me your wallet balances, etc." We haven't really seen that in the space. There's been a few articles here and there of some outlier case where someone's robbed of their crypto at gunpoint, but that's a targeted attack, right? However, as this stuff becomes more prolific and more widely used, or if you're attending a crypto conference where every single individual there has thousands of dollars potentially on their phone, it's just a vulnerability. But yeah, so sorry to answer your question, that was a roundabout way.
Yeah.
No, token proof's nice, and I think that's sort of the problem they solve, is that you do not have to walk around with MetaMask on your phone exposing your assets or your crypto, and you can still verify using some sort of Web3 verification. That is, you know, if the ticket's tied to your ape ownership or your doodle or your cool cat, etc., you can freely walk into these events and parties and things and not have to worry about that liability. So it's nice. Yeah, it's a cool system.
Yeah, I appreciate you breaking that down. I don't want to go too far down a rabbit hole, but I can imagine like these targeted attacks where someone's, you know, I'm way in the clouds right now, but like you could have biometric security, and if your heart rate is elevated, maybe there is no ability to send the NFT.
Right.
So maybe that like completely gets rid. That's like a full. I don't even know. We're off the train tracks right now. But yeah.
I think it's a great idea. People try to solve for these things, right? There was there's a duress password or like a secret wallet on I think on the Trezor. So I think you can set up alternative pins that will lead you to it's like different rabbit holes. Essentially, you can have your duress password that goes to a smaller wallet balance versus your active you know, larger cold storage fund. So no one's walking around with their Trezor, although some crazy people might. But you know, that's the same sort of thing here. Like, we've got MetaMask Mobile. Why not have a duress password on the MetaMask Mobile that leads the users to an alternate set of wallets? Same sort of thing, right? Or you know, I could see a day in the future where, you know, under increased heart rate or some sort of, if the phone's reading your fight or flight response like you just described, like, oh, you can't get into those
Shuts
funds,
down.
you know? Yeah.
In which case you're probably dead. So maybe it's not a great feature. So I do want to get to some comments here. It looks like Expo is asking, does it come preloaded with Solana? To which Elemental said, does it come preloaded with a monkey JPEG? Which that would be a utility there. If they could somehow preload it with a Bored Ape, one of them, maybe that might make some volume increase. And then Mylon saying, oh, wow, DJ Savage looking fancy tonight. So keep up the chat there, guys. Let us know what you think about these topics.
I like that. A phone, it's Bored Ape Roulette. 1 in 1,000 has a Bored Ape preloaded into the wallet. Let's go.
Well, what's the Solana version of like wasn't it Galactic Apes or something like that? That's probably the ape they would put on there, right?
That's a good one. They've got, what was it? DGods was one of the more popular
DGods was
PFP
huge.
projects. I've got a few Solana NFTs. Nothing so cool as a Galactic Ape or a DGod, but there's some fun stuff on that network.
I don't want to like talk too much about this if Savage if you got some points here, so I don't want to like completely dominate the combo here, but I think the move to mobile as well, where we're talking about like mobile security, I think it pairs well with the move to, I think what's going to happen first is augmented reality adoption as opposed to VR adoption. Like augmented reality, whether that be in some type of Google Glass form or whatever the heck makes a comeback there, or through your phone, I think pairs well with being able to have secured NFTs on your phone. Again, we talked through all the hoops that we're going to have to jump through, but if you can somehow securely have NFTs on your phone and be able to swap and things like this, you can also be able to synergize that with showing NFTs through that environment, through that medium of having a phone with your friend and all these different things. So it's cool.
Do any of you guys use YubiKey? Which is kind of like a Google Authenticator, but it's an actual like device. You know, it's gonna look like a jump drive or something.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm familiar. One. That's old school. I mean, that's like your corporate exec trying to, you know, access specific, you know, files, computers, or rooms, right? Cruising around I remember I had a friend that worked for Xerox. He was one of their, or friend's father worked for Xerox. Always had his little YubiKey. Yeah. I think any type of two-factor is great.
I set up my all my email accounts with my YubiKey yesterday, just because starting to connect it to, you know, more things, you know, Indeed or, you know, whatever. And it's got a lot of information on there. So I figured I don't want someone having that account. So I hooked it up to my YubiKey. And I know that's an option probably for a lot of wallets too. And, you know, if you don't have your YubiKey with you, you can't two-factor authenticate it. No one could rob you then. You know, even if you have the YubiKey on you, you can tell the fools that are robbing you don't have it and that you can't access it. What are you going to do? But that was my to-do list for today, was to see if I could get my YubiKeys like sunk up with all my my crypto stuff. But it took forever last night to get all my different email accounts on there and those secured, because we talk a lot on here about, you know, keeping your keys safe and, you know, your crypto and stuff like that. But, you know, if your email gets compromised, I mean, they can do password resets and get access to Coinbase. They can get access to, you know, whatever else you've got out there. So, you know, if you're not using a hardware wallet and you've got some money sitting on the exchange, you can kiss that stuff goodbye. So got to think about security.
Another pro tip, don't use SMS for two-factor. Always use something like a YubiKey or Google Auth, because we know of SMS attacks where they call your cell phone provider and they do a SIM swap, wherein they now have a phone tied to your account, to your phone number. They've already compromised your single factor password. They get the two-factor code texted to a new device that they just SIM swapped, and now they're into all your funds. So another thing, don't use SMS as your second factor authentication.
I love these privacy feature alpha pieces here, man. YubiKey is something I definitely need to pick up, and also the SMS piece is definitely important. Choin is saying the Ledger has a passphrase option, which is a hidden wallet, prevents a $5 wrench attacks, leaves a small amount in your display wallet, and hides the bulk of your crypto. So definitely love the comments. Mylon is saying you're dressed. I don't know what Mylon is referring to, but Llama saying if MetaMask supports hardware wallet on the phone app, then at least it's more secure. So yeah, a lot of great comments coming through. Let us know what you think about security on mobile, you know, for NFTs in crypto. I think that's a cool conversation to have every once in a while.
China said buy two, one is a backup. And that's actually what I just did. I just purchased my second one, got it in the mail, because I've had one for like a month or two and hadn't set it up because I wanted to have another one for a backup. And then when I was going through and setting it up, I didn't do it right. I did the first one, the primary, and sunk them all up. And what I didn't realize is you need to do the secondary at the exact same time. So I had to like use the passwords a million times to get both of them in there. But yeah, that's absolutely right, China. You got to have two for a backup. One gets lost. You're not trying to get locked out from all of your stuff. And you can also use other forms to, authenticate yourself, like Google Authenticator, or, you can write down the 30 different backup codes or whatever that Google will provide you if that's what you're backing up. I have a page in notes with just all these different backup codes because, you know, I don't want my phone number on there because I don't want someone SIM swapping me and getting all my funds. And, you know, if you lose your YubiKey or something like that, you always want like another back way into your stuff. So I downloaded a bunch of codes and, like I said, set up 2 YubiKeys yesterday. One I'm going to carry around with me, and the other, you know, we'll lock away and keep nice and safe. So if someone robs me or something, they might get my YubiKey, but it's not good for anything. And the one I have is actually a dual use. So it can go into my iPhone or it can go into my computer through USB-C. So
gotcha.
It's kind of nice. So if you had MetaMask on your phone, you could just carry that with you, slap it in, use that to authenticate yourself. I thought it was really nice because it's nice to have a physical piece of hardware that someone can't do that $5 wrench attack with you, because how many people know about a YubiKey? Like, you would just tell people you can't get it. And like they said, Ledger has that setup where you can put a password in. Trezor has the exact same one. So you can have like a regular wallet and then your actual wallet that displays your actual balances too. So what do people like out there in the audience more? Are you more of a Ledger fan or a Trezor fan? I guess I have a both, but I definitely prefer my Trezors over my Ledger.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gabe.
I use both. I own both. I do lean slightly more towards Trezor. I think I just enjoy their user experience a bit more once you're in the wallet, but both are great.
Yeah, I think we talk about diversifying our portfolios a lot, but I think we're touching on an important piece too. Like if you have NFTs, you should probably diversify that into multiple different wallets that have multiple different, you know, passphrases and be able to, you know, secure it that way. I think it was Franklin that got hacked earlier this week. I don't know if it was like a SIM swap issue or it was like, he didn't have 2FA set up. I don't know the actual details. I don't know if he came out with that, but like that's a scenario where if he didn't have, and I'm sure he already did, but if he didn't have his apes in multiple different wallets, that could be a nightmare scenario, you know. Then, and percentage wise, like you should be thinking the same way if you're at home. Like even if you don't have 30 apes sitting, you know, in your wallets or across your wallets, like you should make sure that based on your portfolio percentage, you don't have them all sitting in one wallet or in just one single hot wallet. Definitely.
Precisely.
Yeah, I have
sage advice here.
I have all my NFTs spread across many different wallets, but you know, some of that's just because when I was trying to, you know, get started in this different, you know, process of wallets and, you know, adding the, you know, the hardware security device onto my like MetaMask, you know, I didn't do it properly. So you open up additional MetaMasks and you write down, you know, additional seed phrases, and then you figure out, oh, I can attach this, you know, one to, you know, a different wallet or whatever. Looks like Nifty's pulling up something over here. We can go cut to him and see what he's
yeah, definitely doing. Hash Rhymes brought this up. I'm still trying to work through like sharing my screen and still seeing the chat, but Hash Rhymes brought up Engrave, which I just pulled up on the screen. I've never even heard about this, but it looks like a little cool front end interface there.
That's kind of cool. That's a hardware wallet.
It looks like it. Again, I haven't really seen it. It looks like 3 different products.
It's a camera on that to import keys via QR code, I'm guessing. What else would the camera be for?
Look at that.
Curious.
It's like a big device.
So take selfies.
Biometric light sensor? Oh, there we go. I mean, I need another selfie device. I do a lot of that. So. Anyway.
This is dope, actually. Oh, they actually have like an NFT interface too. That's... I will take a look at this. I don't want to like spend like a lot of time on that, but definitely want to take a look.
Nice.
Very interesting. You know, the thing seems kind of big, and that you'd have to keep it charged. I like that. I don't have to charge my Trezor or Ledger. You know, what if you're trying to make a quick purchase? Probably not using your hardware wallet if you're trying to make a quick purchase. I think I just solved my own question there. So you should be minting off of burner wallets and not connecting your nice big, you know, wallets to different stuff. I've had some you know, NFTs inside a hardware wallet, and then the group will do a secondary drop, and you know, now that I've got a bunch of NFTs in there, I won't even go claim that secondary free drop, because you know, what if that team's not doxed? And what if the first drop only sold, a couple thousand? Maybe that second drop is the one where they're going to rob everybody. So you could do a free drop and the team's not doxxed. I've definitely said no to several free NFTs just because I don't know who the founder is, don't know who the team is, and I got too much to lose sitting in that wallet. So sorry to your free NFT, but can't participate. That ever happened to you guys?
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, that's always like a friction point, right? Where you've got something whitelisted because of a wallet that you're holding an NFT on that's hardware based, and then now you can't claim the free mint without interfacing with the hardware wallet, but that's liability. Yeah, so kind of like how token proof solved the IRL wallet friction problem, someone needs to find a way to like link burner wallets to cold wallets for the claim purposes of these free airdrops or secondary mints or companion pieces, etc. But not quite there yet.
It looks like Dickenza is saying the same thing as you, Gabe. Dickenza is saying there needs to be a good way to set a linked minting wallet as a standard for these cold wallets. So
exactly
interesting. To round about the topic here, I think the Solana phone, like, they've surprised me before though. I had Anatoly back on way in the day. He was talking about how they were building this awesome layer 1 and it was going to have all this adoption. They were going to hit different sectors, and when I was like interviewing him, didn't really see the vision there. Nor did I think he could like displace Ethereum in that sense. Not saying they have, but they definitely have had success. Yeah. So maybe this phone ends up being something that they can add to the portfolio there of successful product launches. We'll see, but definitely erring on the side of not probably successful this phone launch.
Well, there's a couple of them out there, so there's the cheaper one says it's $500 and it's like not the top of the line chipset in there. It'd be hard to pay $500 for like an outdated phone. And even the $1,000 one that's coming out for Solana, it's top of the line right now. By the time it drops, there'll be newer chipsets that are out. There'll be faster phones. So $1,000 for a phone that's not top of the line seems like a lot to me. I mean, why not put it in Sol prices? You can pre-order it now. Give me some Sol, kind of like Tesla did. Put your money down. We'll build the truck in a couple of years. Maybe then that's how they would have got me to get a Solana phone. But I don't know. Too much risk, I think, right now. Watch it flop. It'll be the new Windows phone.
Oh,
everyone will get into it. It's gonna die.
Windows phone. That's a blast from the past in terms of poor smartphone launches. But I think it might be smart to accept Solana. We know behaviorally a lot of NFT traders and crypto traders sort of spend their ETH or Bitcoin like it's funny money, right? So if I saw $1,000 Solana phone and I had a couple extra grand just sitting on a Phantom wallet, I might say, oh, I'll try that. It'll be my new burner, my new secondary phone. But if I have to pull out the credit card, I'm always a little hesitant to take that plunge.
I agree. Talking about different chains, I heard that there is a use case for privacy blockchains. Has anyone thought about why we would need a privacy blockchain? Is that hit any of your thoughts? Maybe for healthcare or something like that?
None.
Well, the news. Gabe?
Go ahead. You first. Go ahead. Let's hear the news. I certainly think there's uses for privacy blockchains, but go ahead.
Well,
Truth.
The news is saying the privacy blockchains is going to blow up from dating apps. So you can link your wallet with all your NFTs in there, and you can do that flex on, look at my Bored Apes and who I am, and then you couldn't act like somebody else. You could say this is actually me. I'm the owner of this wallet, and if you verify who you are, then the person on the other end of that dating service knows that you are who you actually say you are. So I thought this one was kind of interesting. I was starting to think about this because Playboy got into a little bit of a sandbox action over here. It'll be posted up next to Snoop Dogg, and they said they're going to open up the Meta Mansion, and there'll be a bunch of Playboy voxelized bunnies running around over here. Which also ties into my beautiful suit, since this is a dating episode. You know,
Let's go.
gotta be looking
So
good.
many tie-ins. This story has so many layers to it.
It's a deep onion.
Savage is taken, ladies, but if you weren't, I'd say, maybe this was a tryout at one of those videos for an online dating service or something.
You can buy me a mansion and run around in your bunny suit. I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Great.
So what's the deal here? This is a dating. Is this like a DApp? Is this like a decentralized dating app like that has privacy? What's happening? What's actually happening?
Yeah, I actually found, I don't know if this is the same one that the article is talking about, but I found this one on Twitter while I was cruising this morning. Mr. X Secret Club. They're talking about what you're doing, and then it's actually a dating service. Swipe left, swipe right. Do you like this JPEG? Look at this guy over here. I don't know exactly how that one's going to work. I don't even know if it's the same as the article that is out there, but I did see that sitting out on the Twitter this morning, and I was like, oh, interesting. They're actually launching an NFT that's a dating app. It's going to have 2,000 supplies in there. It's going to cost 1.69 SOL for the whitelist and 2 SOL for the public. So not expensive at all right now with the SOL prices. And it looks like you can, mint some panties or something. Look at this. You can have yourself a nice set of panties.
Wait a second.
Look at that. Don't miss out on any panties. That's a panty dropper right there on SOL. Mr. X.
Savage has those on right now.
Hey, you don't know what I have on below here, because it's definitely not the suit bottom. I tell you what, it'd be a little hot, and I'm not doing that. We got on some nice sweats underneath this suit.
Isn't this the second NFT dating app? The first one failed because there were only male users on it, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yep,
Shocked.
found it. It's the Lonely Ape. The NFT dating service canceled due to lack of women. This was May 20th. Although this may have been Bored Ape centric. Small dating pool there with only a few thousand holders.
So there's a little bit to the story here. Not to get off the Bored Ape dating club and the panty discussion, but it looks like Sessions. It looks like the app Sessions is like an encrypted blockchain messaging app, which to again just have the conversation about I guess the messaging piece here is I think that's a great use case. We were already talking about mobile. I think mobile messaging and having privacy be associated as opposed to messaging on Discord, Telegram. I mean, we don't even have to get into WeChat, but I think that is a great use case, and that will be a company that does come out outside of Telegram that offers this. I think there's already a bunch that exist, right? I'm assuming Signal is one of them. There were a couple others that are really Web3 native that have come out. So I like that as a utility. I think, outside the funniness of the story, there is the encrypted, messaging apps as a use case. Love that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they were talking about. You said Sessions. They were saying, instead of using your phone number to identify who you are, the app will give you a specific session ID, and you can link that to your social media, and you can keep all those details private. But it's a dating app. Do you want that information private? I'm going to give you my number. We're going to be smashing after this, right after Applebee's, right? You got to have their number. I'm not trying to pull up my Playboy Mansion app while we're talking back and forth over here. What's up, Bunny?
Savage. It is 3:00 Eastern Standard. This is not like a late night NFT live, okay? So you gotta keep...
Oh man, I love it.
I did mark that it was not just for 18 or older, so that's the YouTube guidelines. So even the children out there, hey, these Gen Xers or whatever, they're all about dating online. That's what I hear. So no one ever leaves their house anymore, right, guys? They're all sitting in here. I mean, I can't really talk. I don't ever leave my house, but
Gabe, what are your thoughts here on the app?
I'm just going to stay out of this conversation so that I might still have a chance at running for office someday. I'm just kidding. I do think obviously we have a need for privacy messaging apps. I'm a bit confused as to what the what the blockchain or privacy token component is of this, right? Because we know blockchains are based on asymmetric encryption, at least your standard, private public key pair. So where is the interjection, like in the case of this new session app, of the blockchain that makes it better than just standard encryption, public private methods? That's a bit bewildering to me, but I am a fan of privacy apps. I'm a fan of privacy networks, whether it's Zcash, Monero. I think they're underutilized, unfortunately, and the fact that Bitcoin and Ethereum are of course pseudo-anonymous, right? And now with all of our ENS domains, which we're consenting to, we're giving up privacy, or at least making the audit chain readily available day to day. So anything that adds a little layer of protection and privacy, I tend to be in favor of.
Yeah, Llama saying Monero was supposed to be it, but the government hated it, which I think is a topic we can definitely dive into. No need to censor because it's already blocky. Expo saying Savage just shared his moves. If he asks you to Applebee's, watch out.
I mean,
hash rhymes don't. Go ahead.
You don't even know how true that is, because where I met Auntie Sia for our first date, Applebee's.
So there's a lot of truth to that one. Asmodai saying Litecoin secondary layer privacy seems weird. Want to get back into the first Monero comment. I do think, like, as Web3 blockchain get a little bit more adopted, we've already seen the government be a little bit iffy towards things like Monero, and making sure that they kind of get in front of that stuff with this privacy piece. So I think in the macro environment that we're in now, with the US kind of on shaky ground-ish, quote unquote, we really are looking for privacy apps, but I wonder how much the government will allow before they kind of step in and say, hey, these aren't going to be allowed on this mobile device, or yada, yada, yada. I think they will get a little bit more involved, as opposed to letting us, freely trade things that are, I guess, observable by them.
Talking about Monero makes me think about Fluffy Pony. Back in the day for Clubhouse, I was always listening to Fluffy Pony, how he was saying, Bitcoin's the only way to go. Every other coin, including Ethereum, is just gonna fall away. And now look at him, he's in jail. So good job, buddy. Looks like you had it down the whole time. Doesn't matter if your Bitcoin's gonna go up, because money in jail is measured in cigarettes and ramen noodles. So good luck with your Bitcoin.
You are like twice the host I am when it comes to creating these bits. Love it, man.
Savage with the one-liners today. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
It's the suit.
Cigarettes and ramen.
Hey, that is true. That is true. I watch a lot of documentaries. Oh, that's right. I've seen you in jail. I've come and visit you, and I've dropped off some ramen for you. So.
Oh my. I didn't know
Santino saying
was in jail.
Santino, I'm trying to keep us on track, but this thing is derailing faster than I can keep it on here. Privacy features are cool, but it will cause you trouble later down the road, definitely in America. That's just I think that was what I was trying to get to in the larger conversation that I think maybe is for another day. But you can have all of these different features for your physical devices, but at the end of the day, where you're living directly, those people can come and, figure out, what they want to do with you, no matter what type of features that you have on your mobile device or your PC. It is interesting to have that combo, as the macro environment gets a little more shaky.
Llama out there in chat saying Savage needs a wingman with better pickup lines. I think he's volunteering to go hit the bars with me, right? Maybe that'll be my wingman into
Hope so.
The Playmate mansion or whatever over there with our pixelized bunnies running around. Need yourself.
I don't think llamas are welcome in the Playboy mansion, but maybe.
Getting back onto topic with the news. Did you guys hear about DeFi releasing some credit scores? So over here, this is talking about. You're getting our first ever decentralized credit scores. They popped out on Aave, and they're going to bring it out on Compound and Maker. I wonder how this is going to affect, real credit scores, or if you plan to be in DeFi in the future and you're going to have yourself a DeFi credit score. Does that mean you don't really care what your actual credit score is doing? I know a lot of people in this, crypto winter or just financial crisis feel like we're in a recession right now. So people are letting their cars go back and losing homes and stuff. Maybe that credit score doesn't matter as much because we're going to have DeFi credit scores. Our luck, they'll probably incorporate that into our actual credit scores and we'll be hosed either way. But I thought this was kind of cool. It shows that we're taking the right steps to, make DeFi more popular. Do you guys think that's good for the industry?
In some instances, sure. Having been in this space for many years and having crypto assets on the books that I report and pay my taxes on and do all of the right things, you'll notice conventional lenders still do not take into account your crypto holdings, even though they're liquid, even though they can be sold to US dollars and at the drop of a hat and used to pay bills. So if other lenders are coming in and looking at someone's crypto behaviors to potentially allow them to borrow money, especially if that money that they're borrowing doesn't need to be collateralized, right? Because we've seen a lot of crypto loans out there, including home mortgages, wherein you need to fully collateralize the loan. I think, well, that's great that I can get a crypto home mortgage, but it's not like I'm borrowing at a conventional rate or paying that back. I still need to have the full value of a home to collateralize the loan. If something like a credit score system for DeFi behaviors allows you to borrow like a more conventional loan structure, I think that's a net positive for the average crypto user, frankly.
Yeah, there's a lot of degenerates here in this space that definitely don't want to over collateralize. That would just like to put up a little bit of funds to be able to kind of lever up in a sense. But what we see now on DeFi platforms is that over collateralization, right? Like that Celsius blow up, the BlockFi blow up, all of these things happened using the traditional systems. And what we saw was the over collateralized debt and loans in the DeFi platforms were completely, they worked as is. The people got wiped out. They got liquidated based on the contract. So I think this is a really cool idea. It doesn't help, in my opinion, the applications and the dApps as much as it helps the individual users that can build up a reputation on the blockchain. That's why we're doing things on the blockchain in some cases, although we could have the talk about zero knowledge proofs and not showing everything. But if you can have a reputation system built up over what you're doing across whatever blockchain you're on, that's dope. That's a cool user feature. But I think that to one of the points that's in the article, Chris Bleck was saying, well, someone, can just create another wallet. So I think there is, I don't think it helps the apps as much because of that feature where somebody can come in and create a new wallet, but you can actually have, the user built up reputation over time. It's a cool feature in my opinion.
My thought when I read this article was how many people out there aren't claiming NFTs on their taxes or don't, actually claim that wallet on their taxes. And my thought was maybe this is a governmental ploy just to actually link wallets to people so they can start properly taxing people. That's kind of what my first thought was, like, oh, there's some people out there holding Bored Apes and burner wallets. You're going to go use that one day to, get a house or something. And they're going to be like, whoa, you haven't claimed this on, your past 5 years for taxes or something. Going to get a bunch of people in trouble.
I don't think that's what they're doing here, though. I don't think they're tying your real world identity. I think what it's doing is tying a health factor of that particular wallet. Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I didn't read into that correctly, but I think what it's doing is lending a reputation score to the actual wallet itself based on metrics. Not saying this wallet belongs to XYZ. It's just kind of formalizing a reputation based on your activity. But again, I might be wrong.
I guess I just assumed because they talked about a bunch of AI in there on how this app's going to work or dApp's going to work. You're probably not hiding your identity when the AI gets into it. They're going to figure out, how you funded that wallet, and it's going to go right back to you and take no effort at all from anybody because
Thank you, Coinbase.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty hard to get an actual burner wallet unless you have people sending you ETH from the very beginning and you never actually funded it yourself. And how many people can actually say they've got wallets set up like that? It seems like almost every wallet's tied back to some onboarding ramp, whether that's Coinbase or Kraken or FTX or whatever exchange you use.
I love this topic that you brought up, Savage. Asmodai is saying we don't want credit scores, not a system that works. We're Web3, find a new way. What do you think about that, Gabe?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I get the sentiment, but at the same time, if this space is to mature, we need ways where we can protect the lenders and also protect the borrowers, right? Like if we want some of these conventional mechanisms for crypto assets, i.e. like access to borrowed funds that aren't fully collateralized, the only way to do that is for some risk mitigation through some actuarial process that grades the user, the borrower, for example. Like the lenders aren't going to take on that risk and just say, oh, you've got some money in a MetaMask. Sure, here's $100,000 at X percentage rate. Like they need to know your history, your background, your trustworthiness. It gets sticky, right? We know there's a lot of people in this space that want privacy, that don't like conventional finance systems. I have my own gripes with many mechanisms out there, but if we want the space to mature, we need something. Maybe the new thing isn't a credit score system. Maybe it's something else. In general, and I understand the sentiment too. Like China's credit score system is downright draconian and quite frightening, right? When your credit score denies you access to get on public transit, that's not a good outcome of this, right? So maybe the opportunity exists here for something new that doesn't lead us down a pathway like that. I don't know yet. I don't have an idea of what that is, but I do think we need some systems in place that allow us access to more conventional type financial mechanisms through crypto and blockchain.
Talking about China, I bet you this system would work well in China because they're dropping their CBDC, and if they're dropping their central bank digital currency. And they even talk about doing like an airdrop where they've got like 2.6 million people that signed up. Here, I'll even flip it over. We got 2.6 million people that signed up out of 18, and if they're airdropping tokens to people, like they're gonna know who those residents are. Like that's not like a burner wallet they're gonna airdrop these tokens to. And maybe this is like a system that would work well in China because it's probably gonna be linked to like our version of a social security number. And if you're claiming some money from this CBDC, they're going to put it to, a known wallet of who you are.
CBDCs are like the penultimate balance between this dilemma that we have of like wanting more adoption and wanting to stay decentralized. Like CBDCs, nothing can get us more decentralized than having the currency of the world be able to be implemented into the Ethereum blockchain or like any blockchain. But also, to Gabe's point, China, for example, super draconian use of the CBDC for sure. Like they want complete control of their monetary system, and that is not the way that we want it. So it is this dilemma we have of like, okay, we want mass adoption, but we also want to stay decentralized. Where do you fall on the spectrum?
Yeah, I think there's room for both though, right? Like many critics will say that central banking digital currencies are the death knell of decentralized tokens, right? Like the existence of a central banking crypto doesn't mean that Bitcoin goes away. It doesn't mean that Ethereum goes away, right? That doesn't mean I'm pro central banking digital currencies. In the case of China, I think, oh no, this is a terrible idea for the Chinese, for the citizens, for their agency and an ability to have some autonomy over their financial decisions. CBDCs are terrible. In the US, maybe there's a better use case for them. I think definitely we're moving in that direction. Like they're on the horizon. And they're a likelihood. I mean, consider the fact that most of us aren't carrying physical cash anyway. I live in Vegas presently, so there's a lot of physical cash here, right, for the casinos. However, how many retailers stopped accepting cash during the pandemic and then never went back to accepting cash? There's bars, within a mile of my house that only accept cards. So we're moving to this all digital realm anyway. And I think the idea that they could just issue currencies on a blockchain or cryptographically doesn't necessarily need blockchain, but I think that's attractive to central banking in general, and I think we're moving in that direction away from physical cash as a new issuance method for currency.
They were talking about since everyone is using cards in small businesses, Visa or MasterCard or whoever gets like a 3% fee for every card that's used. And I know they said that blockchain and cryptocurrency might be what actually revives our economy. Because, when you're working on really slim margins, because, if you're like you own a restaurant or whatever, your food costs have gone up, everything has gone up. So you're making less, and then you're giving 3% away to, MasterCard or whatever. It's really cutting into your profits. You might only be making 7%, and then now you're down to 4%. So if you can, start accepting Bitcoin where these fees go way down, that saves mom and pop, and they can, keep their business open a little bit longer. So, with us moving all digital currently with credit cards, I think we're going to move into a blockchain technology, whether that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or like a CBDC. I think that's going to happen rather quick, just because it's money. It's all about the money. And people want to cut Visa and MasterCard out of that 3%.
But to be honest, this is already happening as well. Like, we're obviously on NFT Live. Our expertise is not like global macro conditions, right? But like what you see right now is other countries already buying up USDC or Tether or whatever you see. Like, the volumes show that people are moving into these US dollar based, digital currencies via third party wallets and all of these different dApps that have come over the past 4 or 5 years. So it's cool to see, and that is 100% where we're going. But I wonder how much the US gets involved, to Gabe's point. Like, that will be interesting to watch. It's not sexy. It's not like a cool new drop or anything like that. So it's not talked about that often, but it'll affect us one way or another.
Oh, it's on the horizon, but
this is how close it is, Gabe. 90% of central banks are researching the utility of CBDCs. 90%. Like, I don't know who that other 10% is, but they should probably get on board. I know America's not in that 10%. Like, they're definitely looking into this. So
absolutely.
CBDCs are going to start dominating rather soon. And don't let anyone tell you that that's cryptocurrency, because it's most certainly not. That's just an easier way for the government to print money, because they don't actually have to print it. So they're saving money there too.
Right. Might be, well, it might be crypto. It's just not decentralized, right? It's not the crypto we necessarily want, or the crypto we got into this space for, right? It's not necessarily solving problems for the average citizen or consumer. It's solving problems for central banking, right?
Yeah, I think I heard that Solana might even be getting sued recently because they claim to be decentralized, and people are saying they're not actually decentralized.
So, I'm down on my money. I need to sue somebody.
Well, that's funny. Kind of an interesting discussion, right? Like, you can look at like the nodes on some of these networks that are proof of work, right? At what point is a network decentralized? Like, where do we meet that threshold? Say for something like Solana or a Polygon, or insert random proof of stake or non-proof of work network here. What is the sufficient decentralization in terms of operating nodes, copies of the blockchain that provides that security that we're looking for in decentralization? I don't have an answer to that, but that's kind of one of those nebulous hard problems in crypto and blockchain that I think we're still solving, which Solana has had some issues with, right? We know they've had issues with throughput and network latency as well. We've seen that on Polygon as well. We've seen it on a number of networks, unfortunately. Like, we all want these things to be efficient, cheap, fast, and in many instances low on their carbon footprint, and yet they don't perform well without sufficient nodes and sufficient user support in the network. So questions there. That was a total derailment of I don't know the list of topics that we're moving through today, but just another interesting one.
Well, go ahead.
As we move farther away from the origination of Bitcoin and the origination of the blockchain, like, people care less and less about that stuff, right? In a way, right? Like, the more people that are getting in now don't, care about this process of like Solana being sufficiently decentralized, like in Ethereum or Bitcoin, which you could probably say those are the two main ones. Like, I feel like it's easier to say Bitcoin and Ethereum are sufficiently decentralized, as opposed to saying which ones aren't. You know, I don't know how to. I'm kind of going off the rails here, but I think it's easier to point out the ones that are decentralized. It's not easy to say which ones are centralized. I'm kind of all over the place there.
Agreed, but a lot of them are in that gray zone where you're like, it's operating, it's functioning. We haven't seen any hard fork attacks or any. Although that's not entirely true. We've seen attacks on some networks where a number of nodes have been compromised sufficiently to steal users' funds. So right. Some of them operate in sort of a gray space where we're not sure if they're sufficiently decentralized, and yet some of us still take sizable investments in many of the tokens of those networks, sometimes to our own demise, but other times it's okay. So we'll see. Time will tell with many of these.
Well, people take them. Sorry, Savage, but the people take this for granted too. Like at one point, Bitcoin wasn't very decentralized in its node systems, but people take it for granted, like it just spoofed out of the fucking earth as like this money for the people. Like no, at one point you could turn off a couple people's nodes and have the entire network. Like it's a spectrum that we have to get down, but some I feel like a Flow need to make this. It depends on who they're targeting. Flow has not shown very much, like, I guess, enthusiasm in the decentralized vision. It's more like we're going to target mass adoption, so our node set isn't very decentralized. So I'm going off on huge tangents, but go ahead, Cybert. Sorry.
I wonder how many people actually care or have even thought about it being decentralized. I mean, how many people do you think you could walk up to on the street and say, explain to me how the US dollar works?
Yeah.
Like most people probably don't even know the central bank isn't owned by America. They're like, oh, America's central bank, that's probably the government over there running that. No, that's not how it works. No. So, I mean, probably for mass adoption, those people probably don't care. You know, they just want their stuff to work, which is maybe why crypto hasn't taken off as much, because you still have to set up all your wallets, write down your seed phrases, you know, the stuff that we care about, you know, not your keys, not your crypto. You know, grandma doesn't want to do that. She wants to open up probably her Windows 98 computer, you know, pull up a website or call on a phone to get her balance, you know, flip through the checkbook. But, you know, I don't think most people really care about that, or it's not even a thought they've ever had. You know, we talk about it a lot because we're on this space and we see it all on Twitter, and that's kind of the narrative, not your keys, not your wallet. And if you hear that, you've kind of looked into that, but I don't think the average person cares. Like, they don't really want to hold their own money.
There has to be an incentive to do so. I had this conversation with Jiho from Axie Infinity like a long time ago, like 2 years ago, as Axie was on its rise. And we basically came to the conclusion that like your want, let me make sure I get this right. Like your ability to learn something new is in direct proportion to how much it benefits you. You know, like if there's $1 million on that wallet, I guarantee grandma's going to fucking figure it out. You know, but if there's no incentive to do so, then why the hell would they do it? So there has to be some like really good incentive there. But Gabe, I want to get your take too, because we are on NFT Live. Like, I know it's maybe a broader question, but like, how does this talk of like CBDCs and privacy and all these different things, how does it affect the NFT space? How does it affect our industry that we're in? If you can dissect it again, I think it's a broader question, but maybe one we could tackle before we end.
You think about that. I've said in the past, publicly and privately, that I don't necessarily think central banking digital currencies are a bad thing, because it exposes people to the general features of wallets and what cryptocurrency is. And a lot of modern exchanges and a lot of modern wallets obfuscate the complexity of what's going on behind the scenes. Even though most of them take you through a process of backing up your keys, I still have friends that lose their monies regularly because they didn't write down that seed phrase or that private string. It could be a net benefit, right? Users get more comfortable with it. They start to understand that. They understand, oh, NFTs are just digital assets that live on blockchains tied to media. This is similar to that Federal Reserve currency that I also own, for better or worse. It could be a net positive in terms of that gap in learning and understanding. Like you said, I like what you just said about incentive to learn, right? I'm a psychologist. Many of you know this about me. Not a clinician, but background in a lot of things regarding cognition, decision making. We know there's intrinsic and extrinsic motivators for most things. Those intrinsic things are the stuff that feed you in some emotional or intellectual stimulation sort of way. Like I know you're into lacrosse, Q. Just sharing the personal details here. I'm sorry. I like bicycle riding. It doesn't serve me monetarily, right? However, a lot of the things I do, the hobbies and interests that I might take on, might also serve to make me a little cash here and there. I've sometimes dabbled in both physical and digital collectibles, right? Not just because I'm interested in what those things are, but because they serve me monetarily. Well, some of people's barrier to entry for NFTs is they just don't understand them. So there might be something to bridging that knowledge gap if everyone gets comfortable with digital currencies for them to understand Web3 and understand the NFT space.
That was one of my thoughts when I was reading that, China did the airdrop of their CBDCs and, 2.8 million people picked it up or something. I figured that's not a huge incentive. Like you can go get some free money. Some people signed up for it. If America was to do it, this is what was my thought. I'm like, Jay-Z's going to drop an NFT and the government's going to say, you're going to get your next stipend check or, a stimulus check or whatever. It's attached to this Jay-Z concert.
That's when they should have done it.
And then they're going to push it out that way. And so then some people will go claim some money. If it's, too hard to get into, they won't do that. But if you're a diehard Jay-Z fan, or maybe Jimmy Buffett does it, so grandma and grandpa get into it, and you can get the new Jimmy Buffett album along with some new money, maybe that's what brings the adoption. Because we're America, we're going to do it better, right? We're going to drop an NFT with our CBDC. And, if not, here's your idea.
Shout out to all the parrot heads out there.
Hey, let's go.
Oh my God.
I think that was my first concert I went to.
My parents were into Jimmy Buffett, so I get it. I know a lot of his songs. Oh, that's funny.
Savage, you would be a great late night host, bro. Like this would be a great late night show. Honestly, it would. But dude, that's when they should have done it. That's when the US should have done it. When if they wanted to get full control of the monetary, just like in a China sense, very China-esque of like controlling and having more transparency about people's money and all this stuff. When they did those stipends, that's exactly an incentive, like Gabe was mentioning, for people to onboard a wallet. Hey, do you want this $1,200? Well, all you have to do is XYZ. And they could have done it then. So if they want to incorporate CBDCs into the United States ecosystem, or however you kind of lay that out, drop another $1,200 and make them sign up for it, and you will see a hefty amount of people do it. So that's,
or they could say, hey, we're gonna drop national health care to everybody. You just gotta go get on this wallet.
There's another one.
Sign up for it right there. You can get all the health care you want. You don't want any health care? Well, then don't sign up for that wallet and don't go to that Jay-Z concert, I guess.
Hit the Jimmy Buffett instead.
Hey, dude, some of their concerts are rowdy. I definitely saw some naked people at that Jimmy Buffett concert, and there's kids around you and stuff, but some of those old timers, they know how to get down over there slinging stuff. Hey, you want a parrot? How about a little bump? Huh? Hey, who can even do drugs these days? Would you guys go up to anyone random and do like a bump with them in the bathroom or something like I see on this like 90s video show? You don't know what's in that shit anymore. You're going to end up snorting some fentanyl and ODing, and then you'll die at a Jimmy Buffett concert. Good luck with that.
We need a supercut on today of all the Savage's heaters today. Someone please get that on Twitter for me. Anyway. Hey, but you're not wrong.
We will create that.
Oh, man.
What's better than some Jimmy Buffett? Maybe a margarita and some Jimmy Buffett. It is Friday, guys. It is Friday. I'm getting a little hot over here, so I think a margarita sounds pretty good. Maybe that's what we'll do a little bit later today.
Dude, I got some brisket cooking here in the slow cooker, man. I'm doing some Mexican style barbacoa, as they say. So it's gonna be awesome. But guys, this was NFT Live, man. I'm gonna let obviously my co-host here take us out, but we appreciate you being here the entire time. We're sitting at about like an hour 10. So we're going to transition out of here before we get any more hot takes that will get us banned from YouTube. But anything else, guys? Thank you again so much for tuning in.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. If you're not joining us inside the Discord yet, you should jump over to LADZ City and join us in the Discord. Do you have anything, Gabe, before we shut down?
No, that was great. Thank you guys for having me. And I'll be back next week, I believe. Always a fun conversation. Cool topics this week. Thank you guys.
Yeah, actually, I think we're going to let Fun Uncle close us out here and give a little bit of OVOT.
Our tribe.